Yes, I watched the new Fairly Odd Parents reboot, and yes, I am going to be talking about it. Why? That is gonna remain unanswered for now because I really don't know why. So first off, before I completely begin, I was not able to watch every single episode. No, I wasn't able to. Not because it was necessarily bad. I just couldn't find the whole rest of the episodes. I could only find like 14 of them. Maybe I'll do a part 2 or something to this video. But now, look, I heard that, now if you guys know, yes, there's a new Fairly Odd Parents reboot. It's called Fairly Odd Parents A New Wish. No, I'm not talking about that live action called Fairly Odder, which is a horrible name, by the way. All I think about is like otters. I was like, is this show about otters? Like, what the heck? No, this is Fairly Odd Parents A New Wish, which is a much better name, and I'm very happy that they kept that. But I've been seeing, the reason I even heard about this to begin with is because so many people are talking about this, and I'm not just talking about little people. I'm talking about the people who grew up with the original Fairly Odd Parents, like myself. Everyone is talking about this, guys. Everyone is talking about it. And I'm not going to be making this intro super long because I am going to be going through 14 episodes of this thing, or 15 episodes, whatever, I can't count. So I'm going to be doing that, and my initial opinions, I'll be going into them as I go on with talking about the show. But my initial opinion, everyone loves this show, and I mean loves it. And you don't really see that with reboots. Most people kind of knock it before they get to try it. But with this show, people actually generally really like it. People really like this show. And I have to admit that no, I am not one of them. No, I did not think the show is that good, and again, I'm just talking from an adult point of view. I bet for a kid, this show will be fine. Like, honestly, it's not like so insultingly horrible where I'm like, how can anyone enjoy this? If you're a kid, sure, I could definitely see kids watching this, but I do not think it definitely holds up as a 21-year-old. But I do see lots of like 20-year-olds like loving this show, which is kind of, I shouldn't say unusual because obviously to each its own, but it is not the reaction that I thought that I would be seeing with the show. And yeah, every episode is like 11 minutes, so pretty short, except for the first episode. The first episode is actually 22 minutes, so double the length, which I actually appreciate. Again, I'll be going into my opinions as I go on with this, but honestly, I feel like that would do this show justice if every episode was like 22 minutes. Because I feel lots of the episodes are so insanely rushed, and you'll probably know what I mean as I get into this more. So without no further ado, I'm just going to be going into the first episode, so here we go. So first things first, we see the new theme song, and I'm not gonna lie, the new theme song is a freaking bop. It is a freaking bop, okay? Definitely much better than the original in my opinion. The vocals, instrumentals, like, honestly, I really don't get tired of it. Like, I listen to it every time. Like, I don't even skip it. Like, when I was watching these episodes, I freaking watched it throughout the theme song, which I, like, never do. But I'm not gonna lie, it's a bop. I can't explain it.
Whole life changed with a pair quite strange, cause in reality they heard new. Our parents, Fairly Odd Parents.
So another thing too is I actually genuinely like the animation for the show. Like, the animation is unique. It's like CGI mixed with like 2D/3D art, I guess. And it actually really isn't bad. In my opinion, I actually think I might like it better than the original show. Shocking, I know. I don't know, the original was good for its time, obviously, but it's like really two-dimensional, really like has no depth to it, I guess. But this one, they actually do a good job of showing emotions on the characters' faces, and I just think the color schemes look really good in the show, to be honest. Like, I don't know, yes, some parts look really fake and like bulgy and weird, I guess, but I don't know, it just gives the show its own charm, I guess. And it also kind of gives me like Puss in Boots: The Last Wish vibes. If you guys seen that Puss in Boots movie, it honestly kind of does give me those vibes. Just like the animation, the animation is very similar. It's a kind of like anime kind of style sometimes, I guess. You'll probably see what I mean if I put clips into this video as I go on, but it is very unique, and I actually do kind of enjoy it. What I also find kind of cute about this show is I like how in the beginning of every episode there's like title card, similar to what it was in like the original show. How there's title cards that has the name of the episodes and the directors and producers, all that kind of stuff. And I actually like how they keep the title cards like the same animation as the original show, but like with the new characters obviously. So we see our new character Hazel, who's the new Timmy. We see her, you know, in the style of the 2D animation from the original show, and I actually find that kind of a cute like callback to the original. It's actually cute, I'm not gonna lie. So going into summary of this actual show, yes, the show is about a 10-year-old, I don't know why they're always 10, but she's 10, a 10-year-old girl named Hazel Wells, I think her name is, who just moved to a new place called Dimadelphia, which I'm guessing is a parody of Philadelphia, but like everything has to be like Dimmadized, I guess. I don't know. And as the theme song states, she has been feeling quite alone moving to this new place because she is there with her two parents. And yes, her two parents are like very different than Timmy's parents, pretty much in every single way. They are smart, they're respectful, but the one thing that they do share in common is that they don't really make enough time for their daughter. But like definitely much more than Timmy though, than Timmy's parents, because at least with these guys, they have kind of reasons to be away because they're really smart, they're scientists, they have really like lots of stuff going for them. Timmy's parents are just neglectful for the sake of being neglectful, like there's really no reason. And also because Hazel's older brother, his name is Anthony, he moved away to college, and so she is finally all alone for the very first time, and she had a very close relationship to Anthony, so yeah, she really does not have any friends and she feels really quite alone. So yeah, and another thing we do learn in this first episode is that Cosmo and Wanda have been retired for 1,000 years at this point. Yeah, so we get to see their new human form a lot in this show, which I'm not gonna lie, I really do like. I really enjoy the human form. I don't know why. Just something about it is really cute. Like the animation makes it really cute for some reason. And people also kind of like didn't quite know because they said they've been retired for 10,000 years. So that made people believe that like this story takes place 10,000 years after the original Philadelphia appearance, which is like not the case because I thought that at first too. But what we eventually learned in the show, from what they say, is that they have been retired for 10,000 years, but they have been traveling through time. So they've been like taking vacations to like the Renaissance or something. So they've been going to the Renaissance, and it could have been 10,000 years, like their time, but they could have like transferred back to that point of time in the world, if that makes sense. So I did this is so sad to me, but I did the calculations, and yes, apparently like Timmy would be like 40 years old. That's my guess, okay? He's about 40 years old. Based on other things we see in the show that I'm not going to give away quite yet, he would be about 40 years old. So no, this is not 10,000 years after everything. Just letting you guys know that, because I believed that at first too, but no. It's confusing and it's weird. So let me get into the actual episode, shall we? So the episode, or the show starts, whatever, with Hazel unpacking her bags for her new apartment, and yeah, she just kind of chilling with her bags, and she talks to herself a lot, but that's classic Philadelphia parents fashion. And also, I do kind of like how they made her live in like an actual apartment versus like a house, because usually they always have like that signature house that they always show in like all those shows, especially animation shows and everything. But I kind of do find it funny how they actually live in an apartment, so there isn't much to like show for that, because they do live in the city. They live in like, you know, Dimadelphia. So okay. So Hazel is pretty excited because she is expecting a visit from her brother Anthony, who's going to be visiting the new apartment, so they could kind of all catch up, all that kind of stuff. And then someone knocks at the door, and then Hazel gets really excited, obviously expecting that it's going to be Anthony. But then she opens the door, and no, it wasn't Anthony. It was the familiar green and pink-haired strangers at the door, who are definitely on drugs.
Hi there, I'm Cosmo. I'm Wanda. And we're your next-door neighbors.
Like, imagine having this kind of look, like, at someone at your door. I mean, kind of rude. So I can't be getting into my full analysis without talking about their human forms, right? Like, I can't do that. The fact that they are like retired for some reason makes this so much better. It just does, okay? It makes it so much better. Because Cosmo is legit wearing socks with sandals, which I never thought I would be seeing. Which is very on brand for him. Like, very on brand. I could definitely see him supporting that. And he also wears sweatpants, which is very dad vibes. He also has a white, like, wife beater on. I know people don't like that term, but, like, the tank top, I guess. He's wearing a white tank top with a green flannel because he needs that green. Because, you know, it has to be somewhere. And he's also wearing like a purple star like sunglasses on his face, which I find kind of funny. And I'm just gonna say that represents Poof. Because no, in case you guys are curious, Poof is not in this show. No one exactly knows why, but my theory, even though he's never been mentioned in the show, my theory is that he has his own god kid. He has his own god kid, which I don't even feel like that's a real theory, honestly, at that point. It just seems like true. Like, where else would he be? So yeah, I definitely do think that he has his own god kid, and he's living in the fairy world or something. He has his own life. He could be married at this point. Who knows? Even though he's only like 40 years old, I guess, which is so young compared to fairies, but that's besides the point. Also, Cosmo like officially has a dad bod. I mean, he was the one to carry the baby. That episode traumatized me, dude. When I was little, freaking Cosmo giving birth traumatized me. That's why I hate M-Pregs to this day. Now, I'm not gonna lie, Wanda is freaking killing her look. She is killing it. Like, she has pink jeans on, a yellow flannel, like pink undershirt, and regular sandals on. But when you see her later on in her human form, she's also wearing socks and sandals, so I don't know if that's like a mistake. I don't know. But it's fun. So they even went into detail to like paint her nails, which I find honestly kind of cute. And she is definitely giving Ellie from Jurassic Park vibes. Like, if you guys know, you know. Like, imagine seeing these freaking crackheads outside your door being the first people you meet moving into a new apartment. Yikes. So yeah, we also see them introduce one another. They finally do their classical, like, I'm Cosmo, I'm Wanda, and we're your next door neighbors, which is kind of wholesome, brings back memories.
Hey, Timmy! I'm Cosmo. I'm Wanda. And we're your fairy godparents!
And so we also see Hazel's parents meet Cosmo and Wanda, aka the crackheads next door. And they're kind of just chatting up. And yeah, their parents' names are Angela and Marcus. So no, they are not mysterious like Timmy's parents. Like 20 years later and we still don't know their names. It's crazy. I'm not gonna lie, Hazel's mom is like, she's kind of fine. So you guys know that trend that's going around right now where it's like, Cosmo and Wanda, you guys ain't slick. Like, they're really not, because they are freaking in these people's apartments and they cannot stop using their magic, like literally right in front of their face. And again, it's funny because like in Fairly Odd Parents, like the original one, Timmy's parents are dumb. That's the whole reason why it's so easy to hide fairies from them, because they're so stupid and they never make time for Timmy. But here, their parents are smart, but they're just not paying attention to the freaking creeps that are in their house, except for Hazel. She's the only one who's seeing them use magic, and she's actually like pulling on her freaking mom's like shirt, like, can you guys get these creeps out of our house? I really don't like this couple. they're scaring me. But the parents are just not paying attention to her. They're just too busy unpacking, and they're just like literally, they're using it so obviously, it's crazy. Like, but I know it's a show, I know it's a cartoon, it's fake, but it's like, and again, they also talk about what they do. Like, we find out that Hazel's mom, Angela, we find out that she is a therapist and an author. And then we find out that Marcus, the dad, is a parascientist. So yeah, he discovers creatures, like Fairly Odd creatures, with wands and wings, and, you know, silly crowny things.
Wands and wings, floaty crowny thing.
And also another thing I have to add is that in this show, Cosmo is like actually legit kind of smart. I shouldn't say smart, that's like, he's not smart, he's never gonna be smart. But he is definitely a lot smarter than he was in the original show. Like towards the end, he had no brain cells left. But he actually looked like he got some education. like legit. Like he definitely comes up with some plans in this episode. They're not like mind-blowing plans, but he comes up with something to help. He comes up with plans. He's actually ahead of his time. Like it's actually pretty impressive, to be honest. And then they also made Wanda like not so naggy, and they made her more mellow, and they kind of made her almost sometimes equally dumb as Cosmo, which is actually kind of funny. And they also made them such a wholesome couple again. Thank God. I hated when they were freaking like joke about how much they hated each other in the original. They actually made them a wholesome couple again, which I'm so excited. And I think it was because of their 10,000 year vacation. That definitely would help someone. Just saying. So again, that was just a whole thing. That was just a whole side note, but you'll see more of that as the show goes on. So yeah, Cosmo and Wanda, they freaking scream when they find out that their dad's, you know, a parascientist, because they get kind of freaked out. So they leave, and yeah, it is kind of awkward. It's really awkward. So we do see Hazel's first day at school, and just so we suspected, because this is a show about a child who needs fairy godparents. Yeah, it sucks. The day sucks. But we get to meet the other kids, which is quite interesting. And freaking all of them have like the weirdest traits. Like, why can't any of them be normal? Like, we have a kid named Doug. Is it Doug? No, not Doug. Dev. His name is Dev Dimmadome. Yeah, he's the grandson of the real Doug Dimmadome. So yeah, heir of the Dimmadome fortunes. And yeah, so bro is rich, and he is obsessed with virtual reality. And he also has drones following him around, so like, nice. And then we meet Trev, who is like super emo. We don't really see much of him. We also see someone named Ren, who I think is supposed to be non-binary, because we only see everyone introduce him like once, and we see them use like they them pronouns talking to him, or them. Again, I don't know, I'm guessing it's them, but again, it's weird because, you know, they're also like 10 years old, so I feel like that's not that realistic, but like, to each his own, I guess. They're not really a huge character, so it's fine. And then we also see Bev, who is apparently a soccer nerd who is definitely shaped like a Tic Tac. And we see Jasmine, who's a really bad singer, but, you know, she thinks she's a really good singer. Whoa. Cap, who's... Whoa, I'm dying. Okay, I had a random talk tag, it's okay. So, which random person was I on? But yeah, so we see Cap, who's the face of like a spring water bottle brand that you can tell is definitely a parody of LaCroix or LaCroix or whatever how you pronounce that water brand. And then we see a dude named Fred, who is obsessed with ASMR, which is so random, but it's like relevant, so I guess it's okay. That's probably their mindset writing that character. So yeah, a lot of characters that were introduced in like the second scene, so it's like kind of overwhelming. So then Hazel eventually goes home, and then we see, or at her apartment, and then she's of course even though her day kind of sucked, she's excited because that means she gets to see her brother Anthony. But then, just because luck is definitely on her side, of course something goes wrong, and then Anthony calls, and he says he can't freaking make it because there's a big snowstorm in the way, which is kind of funny. I mean, it's not funny, it's sad, but it's like, the thing that I do find kind of funny about this whole thing is that we actually hear like a talk, like we actually see like him talking on a phone, and we hear like an actual voice of the character Anthony, which is so funny because he's never in the show, like physically. We never see him, we just hear the voice of someone calling him, which is Anthony. Again, I did find that so funny for some reason. Like, they could have done like a Charlie Brown and it'd be like, whoa, whoa, but like, no, they actually had like an actual person talking, which, who knows, maybe he'll be in the show eventually.
I'm sorry, small fry. I won't be able to get away until the holiday break.
That'll be the day. I picture a really attractive man, I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, honestly at this point, the show kind of makes us feel a little bit bad for little old Hazel, because, you know, since she's always like, I'm fine, I'm always fine. She says that, which, not gonna lie, that kind of hurt.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. I'm always fine.
And then she thinks complaining about it is also very immature, so she doesn't do that. So then Hazel decides her next best option is to run away, like most kids do at age 10. Yay. I mean, I never did, because, like, I would be dead in like 10 seconds. So yeah, she runs away to visit Anthony, and I don't know how she'll be able to find Anthony, but that's her plan. So she also bumps into Cosmo and Wanda, what are the odds? And then they get like very uncomfortably close, and like they kind of give me like those creepy parent vibes, like no joke, like those creepy like relatives at like a family gathering who's like, so what do you like, they like sit on your laps and like pet you. Like they definitely give me those creepy old parent vibes, and I'm like that, like the creepy uncle and aunt you don't want to talk to at a family reunion. That's all I'm gonna say. There's also a part where they make another reference to the original show where Hazel lies about where she's going, and then she said that she got into space camp, and then Cosmo is like, oh my god, congratulations, I always wanted to go to space. And then they just show like random pictures of when he actually went to space, going all the way back to season 0 of the Fairly Odd Parents. Season 0. No one knows about that. That came out in like 1998 or something, which is also kind of crazy how they actually reference that. Not gonna lie. So when they hear Hazel like trauma dump on them, basically saying how miserable she is, and this sounds so messed up here in this out of context, but Cosmo and Wanda got pretty dang excited. They got pretty darn excited, bro, because they finally got inspired to come out of retirement, finally, after like 10,000 years, because of a child who finally needs them.
Oh, Cosmo! Should we come out of retirement? Hey, she's making a run for space camp!
That's beautiful. Also, another side note, yeah, I didn't put this into my script, but this is the part I just remembered. Yeah, so there was a part where Hazel tries to run away, and then she sees this bus driver, and then everyone online is freaking out because they think this bus driver is meant to be Timmy. Older Timmy. I'm not gonna lie, he looks identical to when he got older in that one episode of Fairly Odd Parents, but luckily the creators confirmed that that is not older Timmy, and I'm like, thank God it's not older Timmy, because that would be really depressing if that was older Timmy. But again, he looks like him, he has the same eyes, the same hair, he also is a fan of the Crimson Chin apparently, so I definitely thought that was him, but nope, he's not. But we also do see his character pop up a lot in the show, like he's a janitor at one point, he's like walking his dog, like we see him a lot in the show, so that's kind of funny. That would be really weird if that was to me. So yeah, so apparently Hazel running away did not work, and then she so desperately just says she wishes she could just fly to Anthony herself. And for some reason, this like triggered something in Cosmo and Wanda's wand to make them like revert back into their old tiny fairy selves. The first time we see their fairy selves in the show, they turn into their little fairy selves, and they look freaking so cute. I swear to God, I just want to pinch their cheeks. They're so freaking cute. But that's besides the point.
Wanda, I feel itchy!
They turn into fairy selves, and then they grant the wish. They grant the wish to her, but something, I don't know, went wrong, I guess. And instead of like having her actually fly to Anthony, they actually turned her into an actual fly. So like, yeah. So then they finally tell Hazel that yes, they are fairies, and they explain what happened and all that kind of stuff. And then we also finally get to see about their 10,000 year vacation that I've been talking about before. They finally explain how they've been, you know, there's pictures of them vacationing throughout different centuries of the world. And we also see they freaking met Obama. Like, they freaking met Obama, which is kind of everything. And I'm not gonna lie, I said this before, but they look freaking cute as hell as fairies and as humans. I don't know, they look so, the animation is so freaking cute. Like, their outfits are much more detailed. Like, people say that the budget for the show was like not that much, but honestly it looks more than the Fairly Odd Parents budget, because they look freaking so cute. Like, they're so detailed in the show. Like, they actually have shoes. Like, they actually have shoes, and they have different color pants. Like, Cosmo has a freaking belt. He's wearing a belt now. Like, oh my god. And his tie has definition. And then Wanda is freaking killing it with her detailed, she has a detailed shirt. It's not just a yellow shirt, it's detailed. And she also has pink pants with like yellow shoes, I think. I actually don't remember what his shoe color is. Yellow or pink, I don't know. She has some kind of shoes. And then Cosmo, of course, has his own look. Like, they both are matching, and they're killing it with their freaking looks. Like, I'm actually gonna cry. This is so cute. So this part is freaking frustrating as all hell. It's freaking frustrating. Because Cosmo and Wanda wanted to, like, turn Hazel back into her human form, but she kept flying away. Like, for the sake of conflict. Like, that's the only reason she kept flying away. Like, there was no other reason. She didn't want to fly away because she wanted to get to Anthony, even though she knew that was never going to happen. Like, oh my god. She just flying away to kill time in the show, I swear. So, again, this is another instance of Cosmo being smart because he comes up with an idea to capture Hazel. No, it's not the, like, most brilliant idea, but it worked. Which is more than you can say from the original show, to be honest.
Wanda, I have an idea. Or you might say a idea.
Okay.
So, yeah, they managed to catch him, and their plan is to take Hazel back to her room without the parents finding out. So yeah, they turn back into the human forms, and then they try to, and then, I actually find that kind of funny. They go into the Wells house, and then they actually have Wanda be the one to distract Hazel's parents, while Cosmo is left to be the one to turn her back into human, which I find freaking, like, so funny for some reason, because, they gave freaking, Wanda, like, the dumb job. Like, she's, like, the dumb one at this point. She's, like, wasting time saying gibberish just to kind of distract them. And then Cosmo's the one who's left with the responsibility. Like, the old show would never do that. Like, I just find that so cool, to be honest. It's a kind of a nice change. So, also, I didn't mention this, but, like, Cosmo and Wanda gave them, like, housewarming gifts when they first moved into the apartment, which also includes that Vegas flytrap thing. And then, of course, since she's a fly, Hazel got caught into that flytrap. And there is, like, a really, like, long scene that, like, it was unnecessarily long, not gonna lie. It was a long scene of her talking to an ant that also got trapped in the flytrap. And we never see this ant again, so it's like, okay. But, like, she just, like, talking to this ant, and then, I don't know, like, it's so random. Like, why is she talking to this ant? So finally they managed to change her back without her parents seeing, so nice. So later Hazel visits their apartment, and honestly it looks like a freaking Barbie dream house. It does. It looks like a Barbie dream house. And then Cosmo also makes a joke that the last time they were fairy godparents they lived in a tiny fishbowl for what felt like 20 years. But then Wanda confirms that it's only been 7. Which again is a beautiful job to the original, and it also confirms that Timmy lost his fairy godparents when he was 17. So that's actually kind of cool information to find out about. I kind of like that information. Did they forget about the secret wish? So what I honestly find kind of cute about this first episode is how Cosmo and Wanda are the ones to ask Hazel if they could be her fairy godparents because they miss it so much.
But do you think you'd be interested in being God Kid to a couple of out-of-practice, formerly retired green and pink hairs?
Are you kidding? Of course I am.
Which is so cute, and of course she accepts. Like, why wouldn't she? Like, that's so freaking cute. Like, that's like such a different thing. Like, I love how Hazel wasn't like saying like, oh my god, can you guys grant my wish? Like, she wasn't being a brat. She wasn't being a brat. She was just kind of like, oh, that's really cool. I'm living next to the fairies. That's really neat. But she wasn't asking anything from them. They're the ones who offered it for her, which I find that was a nice twist. Like, it's honestly kind of a nice twist, to be honest. In the original, instead of them just like coming to her and being like a next generation, like having them retired and then coming out of retirement is kind of a nice twist for the show. So yeah, that's episode 1, and the reason why this went on for so long is because, yes, this episode was 22 minutes. The rest of the episodes are 11 minutes, so it definitely would be much shorter. And yeah, so honestly, I think this was a really good first episode. And so yeah, as I mentioned before, there's a few things I liked. Like I said, the animation is actually pretty good. It's pretty good. I actually do like it better than the original. And again, I've been seeing online is how people like 2 things about the show. They like how they made Cosmo relatively smarter, like I mentioned before. Which is not what I expected. Because usually writers of kid shows always believe that the dumber a person is equals the funnier the person is. Like, take Kat from Victorious as example. Like she got dumber as the show went on. And then of course Patrick from SpongeBob, they kept getting dumber because they think that's what kids want to see. But that's not always true. Like, sure, make him silly. He's still silly. He still has his dumb moments. But he's not, like, completely, like, a kindergartner. Like, he's, like, not brain dead or anything. So that's what I very much like about the show. And I also like how no one is, like, amazed by, like, the simplest things that he's done. Because, again, he was the one who changed Hazel back to normal. He was the one who came up with a plan to, like, change her, like, to capture her. And he actually came up with some pretty good ideas in this episode, but no one was like amazed by it. Like it wasn't like they were like, oh my god, Cosmo came up with a plan, oh my god. Like they were just like, yeah, he came up with an idea. That's what people do. I actually kind of like it. And again, I also like how they did Wanda's character, because they made her less of a nag like she was in the original show. And if you guys seen the season 0 of Fairly Odd Parents, I recommend you watch it because they are on YouTube, I think. If you guys are a fan of Fairly Odd Parents, then obviously I recommend you guys watch it because their characters are so different. Like, so different than anything you guys are used to. You guys would be, like, mind blown. Like, every character is different in that show. Like, down to, like, Timmy's different, like, Kaz and Wanda, like, all of them are, like, so different in the show. And I do find that really funny, to be honest. Like, literally, like, not only that, but Cosmo has, like, a sexy, like, voice in it, which is really funny, which is nothing that you guys have ever heard before. Like, if you guys haven't heard his voice in the show, you guys are gonna be mind blown. Like, his voice is freaking sexy. Moving on.
Time to use the most powerful magical weapon in my arsenal. Me!
And again, and also in that show, too, Wanda was, like, the dumb character. She was dumber than Cosmo. Like, generally, she was.
I can't see.
You only need one, Snooky.
Oh, thanks, sailor.
And I just thought it was kind of cute. And they were, like, obsessed with each other in the show. They were, like, the definition of couple goals. And I love how they're actually bringing them back like that. Like, that's actually so cute. They're actually bringing the wholesome character. Because, like, as the show goes on, I'm going to be pointing out some really cute moments between them. And you guys are going to see. You guys aren't even used to the cuteness. Because I bet most of you guys who grew up probably only, like, seen the toxic part of them. It's just how it was, I guess. You guys just seen the toxic part of them. But in the beginning, they were so wholesome. And it was actually really sweet to see in a kid's show. Because they never show, like, couples in kid shows. So I do think that was actually really cute of them. So now I'm going to be on to episode 2. It's called The Department of Magical Violations. So we see Jorgen von Strangle for the first time in the series, and Pro has had it rough. Like, he got himself a beard, and he has a cut-off sweater vest. Like, he's definitely been through stuff. Probably divorced with the Tooth Fairy. Who knows? I love how they, like, announce Jorgen the same way every single time he comes on screen. Like, it's always like, oh my god, Jorgen von Strangle, the toughest fairy in the universe. Like, we know who you are.
Oh no! It's Jorgen von Strangle, the toughest fairy in the universe!
Like, I guess it makes sense for this show because, I don't know, if people forgot who he is or something. But they do it so much in the original show, too. It's like, oh god. And, you know, as I mentioned before, fun fact, in the original show that came out in the 90s, season 0, technically, Jorgen was only meant to be, like, a training counselor for the godparents, which explains the uniform that he used to wear, which is, like, the military cutoff, and why he's so tall and strange. But then they changed him to be, like, the ruler of, like the ruler of Fairy World, pretty much. So it's kind of funny. And they also explain why he doesn't have wings, because he thinks wings are puny, so that's why he wears a jetpack instead. But that never was carried over into the original show, so take it with a grain of salt. I could be wrong. Now, I'm gonna be completely honest, I really do not like what they did with Jorgen in this show. He's in, like, 3 episodes or something, and I do not like what they did with his character. Like, he's always been, like, a douche, that's kind of his thing, but they made him so unbearable. Like, that's all he does, is just scream and yell, and it's like, there's no, hey guys, I haven't seen you in a while, because he probably hasn't seen them in, like, what, 10,000 years? But no, he's just like, yeah, I know, he's really annoying, and you'll probably see why. So yeah, so right off the bat, Jorgen gets mad at Cosmo Wanda for coming out of retirement without telling him, and for choosing their own godchild, because that's, like, not supposed to happen. You can't choose your own godchild. Which, in their defense, I thought that too when I saw the first episode. I was like, I don't think you can choose your own god kid, but, like, okay. Like, when you're a doctor, you don't choose your own patients. So then we meet the character, Cookie, who was going to be Hazel's new fairy, and she is sassy.
Oh, kid, love cookie.
So she's only in 2 episodes, I believe, maybe 3 episodes. 2 episodes I remember. This one and the finale, so. So I'm not gonna lie, the concept of this episode was pretty dumb. I'm not gonna mince words, okay? It was pretty dumb. Because Jorgen says that Cosmo and Wanda have to, like, prove that they can work effectively with Hazel to continue being her fairies. Like, I don't think that's how it works. Like, what? Like, you think Wandissimo and Remy were like a match made in heaven? I mean, maybe. They're both kind of evil, condescending. Okay, bad example. So they first test Hazel's like abilities to see if she could save her fairies by making a wish. But she fails with that, and Cosmo almost dies. So, even though he lives forever. So, see, I don't get that. They acted like Cosmo was gonna like fall to his death, but they established many times that they live forever. So it's like, okay. And then there's another weird part where like they made up like a scenario where Wanda is like throwing a party, and then Hazel has to make a wish to get people dancing. Like, what? Like, what does that have to do with anything? And of course they fail at that too. And then the last test was to see if Wanda and Cosmo like know what Hazel is wishing for before she actually wishes for it. So yeah, they fail at that too, and they lose Hazel. And then Cookie becomes Hazel's godparent in the second episode. So you guys better believe this is how it's gonna be.
Cosmo and Wanda, you will henceforth return to your retirement. Bite-sized human, say hello to your new fairy godparent, Cookie!
So yeah, Hazel actually like goes home, which is kind of funny. She actually goes home with her fairy godparent, and like that's it. Like, it was that simple. Because according to the rules, it says that every kid has to get what they want. What? Like, do you guys not remember the old show? Do you guys not remember the old show? Literally everything to be wished for was against the rules. Everything. So you're telling me that this didn't go against the rules? You're simply wishing to have Cosmo and Wanda back? Because that's what she did. She just wished for them to be her godparents. Like, what?
Here's a wish for you. I wish Cosmo and Wanda were my fairy godparents.
Like, okay. So yeah, the second episode is called Teacher's Pal. So it starts with Hazel nervous to go into the lunchroom since she has like no friends, and Cosmo and Wanda were giving her like a pep talk, and then Cosmo said that she knows a lot about mushrooms and anime. Huh. So she goes in, and of course it goes to crap, because like, what do you expect? And then she runs out and then bumps into a teacher in the most like awkward way possible, but that's besides the point. So he mentions that there will be a test, and if anyone fails, then the entire school will be held back. Like, holy crap. One test? Are you kidding me? So they also randomly dance. Like, this show is so weird. Like, why are they dancing? I don't know. Then Hazel wishes for the most like random thing ever. She wishes to be friends with her teacher because she believes that she's too mature for her age to hang out with other students. Okay.
I wish I could be friends with my teachers.
So before they even grant the wish, they do some like magic math. And like, you'll see this again in another episode, but this never happened in the original show either. I'm confused. So Cosmo and Wanda have like became so complex when granting wishes apparently. Like with Timmy, they would just try to grant the wish, and if it doesn't work, it'll just make a fart sound. And then they'll just be like, well, it's against the rules. But here, they legit did freaking calculus on a chalkboard to see how they could grant the wish. Like, damn, like Timmy really could have benefit with the smart version of them. In that case, they wouldn't have made that secret wish. So get this, she becomes friends with the teacher, so much in fact that the teacher forgets about helping their kids prepare for that really important test that's gonna help hold them back. And I just love how Cosmo and Wanda are like so chill with everything now. Like, they freaking are stoners, dude. They're freaking like freaking retirement really mellowed them out. Like with Timmy, Wanda will be complaining about how bad of an idea this is, why this wish is so horrible, before he even freaking makes the wish. But here, they're almost like encouraging it, even though the teacher is like not teaching the kids. It's honestly kind of hilarious. So it's the day of the test, and then Hazel was finally trying to talk some sense into the teacher who was screwing them over. And Cosmo, out of like all people, explained that the reason they can't like be talked to is because the reason they did that whole fairy math thing is because they had to lower their age, like lower their maturity age, so they could be compatible friends with Hazel.
Increase their maturity in the magic math to make them compatible friends for you. It looks like we forgot to set a minimum maturity on the equation.
So I can talk. So she simply just unwishes the wish. And yeah, it's all fixed. And somehow they all pass the test. Like, okay. Next episode. So episode 4 is called A Dinosaur in Philadelphia. Fun. So Hazel and her family are at the museum, and then Hazel sees an obtuse rubber goose. Sounds familiar? And then Hazel gets annoyed because no one knows any good dinosaur facts, so of course she wishes to see a live dinosaur.
I wish to see a live dinosaur.
They also legit just took sound bites from Jurassic Park, just saying. So apparently the dino they brought back to life, Cosmo and Wanda have met before on their 10,000 year vacation. Like, day freaking a billion of them mentioning this vacation. They freaking really miss it. So they speak dinosaur, apparently. Yeah. But then Hazel simply just wishes for him to speak English. And,
tiny mammals in metal containers everywhere!
RuPaul is quaking. I also love how easily Hazel, like, makes up wishes. Because she sees how everyone's, like, panicking because they see, like, an actual dinosaur in real life. And she simply just wishes for them not to be scared. Like, okay.
I wish people weren't afraid of it.
Like, Timmy would have never been smart enough to just wish for that. But honestly, if he wished for that, it probably would have been against the rules somehow. And then she literally tried to get the dinosaur a job in a movie. What? Like, the whole reason she brought this dinosaur to life is to, you know, to ask him questions about dinosaurs. But no, he's an actor now. We also see human Wanda again, and she freaking slays her outfit. She slays. That house boosts down, Houston, I'm deceased. I don't know what that means, but I heard that somewhere.
I read that in a teen magazine.
And then we find out that she represents Zendaya.
I represent Zendaya.
Hearing Wanda's voice actress saying Zendaya is so trippy for some reason, like it sounds AI. So she wishes him to fit in other places, and it really wasn't going anywhere. And then Wanda says, oof. Which is great.
Oof.
See, at this point is where you lose me with Hazel, okay? You're losing me already. It's season 4, it's episode 4, and you're losing me. Because like in the first episode, they make you feel bad for her character because, you know, she's a newbie and she's young, of course, which is also scary, and her parents are very busy and she has no friends and her brother has moved away and she was like forced to act like she's okay with all the changes in her life. So when she complained about it, it seemed kind of valid, honestly. Like, you're just kind of like, oh, okay, it gives you like a sense of understanding. But now she was all like, I just wanted to give this dinosaur a great life, but I messed everything up.
I just wanted to help Barry make a new life for himself in Philadelphia. But instead I ruined things for him and the whole city.
Like, girl, you want us to feel bad. Like, what? Like, this is why dinosaurs can't exist in this world. Just wish him away. Side note, but Cosmo is also, like, dressed in this, like, ice cream suit for the remainder of the episode for some reason. But, like, yeah. Everything gets resolved in the end. So, on to the next episode. So we go to episode 5. So this episode is called Fearless. So this episode is actually my favorite episode since the first one, which is surprising to be honest. The conflict is kind of silly, but like it's the strongest one in my opinion, so let's get into it. So Hazel invites her friend Jasmine over to watch a movie with her, just like she used to when her brother Anthony, just her luck. Jasmine hates scary movies because she's scared of everything. Like, literally everything. But I can't really blame her because the movie she wants to watch is literally just like a Child's Play parody, and I don't mess with that. We also find out that Cosmo cries when he watches Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
There's always my tearjerker idea. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. So Hazel wishes that Jasmine was fearless, which instead makes her fears come to life, which is honestly kind of creepy.
I wish Jasmine was fearless.
Like, freaking one is a freaking spider following her around, like, ill. So Hazel was already fed up and wished for Jasmine to be fearful again, but alas, it finally went against the rules. Because apparently she has to, like, face the fears so she can get rid of them, but that still didn't work because Jasmine has to be the one to face the fears.
They're not your fears. Fears can only be fought by the one whose fear it is.
So you see how simple this premise is? But it works for the short runtime that they have. Because the thing is with the show is that they squeeze so much plot into only like 11 minutes, which makes it seem so incredibly rushed. But with a simple premise like this, it actually works, to be honest. Like, it felt perfectly paced, so it made the revolution even more endearing. So Hazel then tricks Jasmine into facing her fears so they will go away for good. So the ending was actually pretty creepy. It was actually really creepy, I won't lie. We see Cosmo like hop on Wanda's lap, which is kind of cute. That wasn't the creepy part, but that was the cute part. Wanda also tried to protect Hazel from one of the fears, which was also cute, but no. This wasn't one of Jasmine's fears. It was actually one of Hazel's fears. And her fear that we find out is actually change.
You are afraid of losing the old and starting something new. You are afraid others won't like you, so you try to repeat the past.
So she has to learn to accept how to accept change. I do appreciate when kids shows actually teach lessons to kids, but when they're not like in your face about it. Like, it's not like for 4 episodes now Hazel has been talking about this fear and been like dwelling on it. It was something that she was kind of like hiding that maybe she didn't even know that she had a fear of. I feel like it was actually nice to add into this episode. So overall, my second favorite episode in the show so far. So episode 6 is called 1500 Minutes of Fame. So to start off the episode, I just have to say this show is definitely one of the shows that has so much representation in it, and some may say a little bit too much representation. I know you can never have too much representation, or you have too much in a scene, but the only reason I say that is because in the very first scene, we see Hazel, who is a black girl, nothing wrong with that, and then we see her walking with Jasmine, who's her Asian friend, and then we see her non-binary friend, and then there is a guy in a wheelchair, and then we see a Muslim girl, and then the one white guy in the show is a villain. And watching this for the first time, I was kind of like, okay, I think maybe they're trying too hard in this one episode. But luckily, after this episode, we still see the characters in a lot of the show. Sure, they're background characters, but they're still at least in it. Because I'll be kind of annoyed if they just got like a bunch of different kids for this one shot to be like, see, we're inclusive of everyone, and then like never do it again, which they do in a lot of shows. But luckily, they are all still in the show, so it's not as lazy as I thought it was going to be. So the class was doing one of those voting things where classmates will vote on other classmates about who they think the best at something is. Like, you know, who has the best hair, the best style, the best humor, stuff like that. So Hazel was nervous. She wasn't going to get anything. So she wishes the whole school knew who she was, aka she wishes she was famous.
I wish everyone in the school knew me.
But for some reason, Father Time showed up because it has to do with like 15 minutes of fame. I don't know.
Not on my watch.
For the people who love callbacks to the original series, Timmy is indeed the mascot of the school. Yeah. And that guy that I mentioned before, who people believe is older than me, yeah, he's the janitor. So, fun. The principal kind of sucks, and she definitely hates Hazel. So the fame didn't quite work on her. She kind of like threatened to kick her out of the school for being like, you know, a famous distraction. So I don't really get this part, which is like a really bad sign from a kid's show when a 21-year-old doesn't get something. But then Hazel apparently has to do like a dance number in order for the wish to be broken. Okay.
Headed to the city where it all goes down. New York, New York, New York.
But hey, her voice is much better than Timmy. Sorry, Tara. You did your best. Another callback to the original show is when they were singing, they briefly showed that one character from the Schools Out the Musical episode. Like, it's that guy that like was raised by clowns but was instead manipulated by the pixies. I think his name is like Floppy Bob or something, but besides the point. So the wish was broken and then she was voted most ahead of her time. That's the episode. So next we have is episode 7 called 28 Puddings Later, and this episode is just, it's bad, guys. It's so bad. In my opinion, it's so bad. I kind of want to skip it, but I know I can't, so let's get into it. So yeah, it's pudding day at school and the kids are going crazy for it, and I mean crazy. Like they have been dreaming about this freaking pudding like their entire 10 years on this planet. So Hazel finds out that Dev takes all the pudding, so she wishes for a lifetime supply of pudding for everyone. And then this wish literally turned everyone into zombies. Like, I don't know how this happened, but no joke. Like, literally, it was a zombie freaking apocalypse. So this is the story for like 8 minutes, no joke. It's just basically people trying to survive a pudding apocalypse. I don't know. So to fix everything and all that kind of stuff, she wishes for all the pudding to turn into like broccoli pudding, and that's all I can say about this episode. That's it. A pudding apocalypse for 10 minutes. Nice. So episode 8 is called Trial and Hair. So following a pretty bad episode of the show follows an equally bad episode of the show. So they can't give us too much goodness in the show. They really can't. So it was Spirit Day, and then Hazel wants to wear the most like spirit hair, but her mom couldn't be there to do her hair for her, so her dad tries. Pretty wholesome, right? So we see him cutting, we see him combing, we even hear a razor going off. And when we see the results, it looks like bro just put like a freaking bow on her head. Like, what? We also see like the funniest animation mistake where bro like runs right through the door frame, and it kind of killed me for some reason. He also ran through it like both ways. I freaking loved it. So Hazel wishes for her hair to have like spirit or something, and just as you expected, it came to life, similar to the Fairly Odd Parents episode, but we're not going to be talking about that. Her hair is also named Diana. I thought that was important to add. So yeah, the hair for some reason gets mad at her and then jumps off of her head. And yeah, they try to chase it down. That's the episode. Hazel also closes the door on her dad, and his arm gets like caught in it, and the way he pulls it back through, I won't lie, that was funny. That, I don't know if it's supposed to be funny, but that was funny. It actually made me laugh. It reminded me of like Eugene and Rapunzel when he gets like his like the closet clothes on him, and then just like poke his fingers through. Like, comedy gold. Honestly, Hazel looks good with no hair. She should keep that look. So for an episode that is only 11 minutes long, there is a lot of filler. Like, there was this one random disco scene, and then a random like hoedown scene, and then a part where like Hazel dresses up like a cadet. Like, what's happening? I feel like the more the Fairly Odd Parents goes on, the blinder everyone seems to get. Like, I remember in like the first few episodes of the OG show, if like Cosmo and Wanda even like moved a certain way as inanimate objects, people will like definitely be getting suspicious. But towards the end, the writers like literally stopped caring who saw them as fairies. Like, they stopped caring. Even here, 8 episodes into the new show, Cosmo is legit floating right there, opening a door filled with kids and teachers, not even trying to hide the fact that he's a fairy. Like some effort would be nice. Even the talking hair was in front of everyone, and then no one even batted an eye. Like, come on. Like, they also have like dragged out this makeup scene of Hazel with her hair in front of everyone. No one cares that she is dancing with her own hair, and she somehow like ends up winning because of it. Like, my brain cells are falling out of my ear at this point. And this episode ends with her like not unwishing that wish, but it's gone in the next episode, so like, okay then. So the next episode is called, episode 9 is called Weird Science. So this episode pisses me off, and you'll see why soon. So Hazel waits till like the last minute to do her science fair project. Relatable. So of course it didn't work, so she simply wishes for it to work.
Cosmo, Wanda, I wish my science project worked.
She wishes it will work. Isn't that not the biggest rule in the freaking rule book? You can't make a wish on something to win a competition. Like, but they granted the wish like it was nothing. They didn't even do any freaking magic math or anything. What? Like, I know it's hard to keep up with all of the rules they make up as the show goes on, but the two main rules they always mention is to not, you can't break up true love, and then you can't use wish to make a competition. Like, you had 2 rules. But this wish frickin' backfires, and in order to make her science fair project work, they have to change the laws of science, which made their wands not work anymore. Typical.
Small girl, you've created a universal mess. Thanks to you, the wands are not working in Fairy World.
So Jorgen comes back in this episode and scolds Hazel, which is his only purpose in the show. Like I said, I'm not a fan of it. It kind of gets annoying after a while. And just like Timmy, you know, he just scolds Hazel. What else is new?
I just wanted to make my project work so that I could win first place and impress my family.
And there goes Hazel again, bringing on a pity party. Like, how much she wants to win this fair to impress her family. Like, girl, the more you want sympathy, the more I don't want to give it to you. Like, come on, girl. I love how Cosmo and Wanda have been married for like more than 10,000 years at this point, and then they seem to be like dwelling on like the honeymoon phase, which is really wholesome.
Let me get the door for you.
Cosmo,
Such a gentleman.
Wanda!
I don't know why people are like never aware when things are going weird. Like, they are just freaking chilling, floating in the air. I mean, thank God Hazel didn't end up winning the science fair, because that would be so annoying. Episode 10 is called Mystery She Wished. So there is no kids show without a random mystery episode. No, seriously, like, I'm pretty sure SpongeBob did an episode like this, and then there was Phineas and Ferb, and then the OG Fairly Odd Parents. Like, I knew something was missing from this show. But at least in those episodes, there was actually something that went missing, and then they were actually trying to find it. But here, Hazel just simply wishes to live like a detective for a day. But hey, we see human Cosmo Wanda again, which I definitely love. The way they float is so funny, I didn't notice that till now. I also actually paused it at a part where Cosmo is like touching Wanda's ass, which is kind of everything. There's another part where Wanda is like on the ground, like begging for forgiveness from like the mystery she made up. I don't know. And the poof thing says Patsy, which just means someone who's a sucker. And that honestly made me laugh. That's another thing that I'm not gonna lie, that made me laugh. So there's really nothing more to say about this episode, to be honest. Like, it's just a mystery episode. It doesn't benefit the story whatsoever. She tried to unwish, but but she couldn't unwish it because she has to finish the mystery. So now rules apply. So another OG series callback. We randomly see those little like creepy creatures that were found in like the cereal boxes in the original franchise. We see them for a second, but that's it. So now in episode 11, we see Prime Meridian Love. So a dance is coming up, and Hazel has no one to go with. Very typical for a 10-year-old. But why does so much happen at this girl's school? Like, only thing I had when I was 10 was like Barbie dolls with their heads cut off. Also, one thing you have to know about Hazel is that she is an anime fan. I mentioned that briefly in the first episode, but she's an anime fan. So she wishes for her anime crush to come to life, so she can go to the dance with him.
That's it! I wish I could go to the dance with Kenyuan.
And I kind of like how they made his mouth like not match what he was saying because of, you know, anime.
For your siren song, as beautiful as you are.
So 2 things. There's this random side plot where like no one explains to her that if you tell anyone about magic, they'll disappear forever. And it was never ever mentioned until like now in the show.
Why aren't you hiding? He can't know about magic.
So it must have been mentioned off screen somehow, but like I was waiting for them to like almost, because like again, there's a whole episode dedicated, a whole special dedicated to Cosmo and Wanda telling Timmy about this. It was a whole episode dedicated to it. And then how he was like, what? I'm gonna lose you when I get older? Like, they didn't know about it.
You can't tell anyone about us.
If you do, we'll just go away forever.
Why?
Well, that's what the rule book says.
But like, now I feel like it would be a perfect time for them to actually explain it or something. Saying like, yeah, if you tell someone we're gonna disappear forever, like, they say all that, but it's like, okay, I don't know. It's just a random thing I thought of. But also, do Cosmo and Wanda still have their apartments? Or did they, like, move out to live in Hazel's closet? I have so many questions. Okay, but the real second thing I was gonna say is that I love when Cosmo and Wanda do the little back thing to each other. It's so cute. So there was actually a pretty cool montage where they showed different like anime sketches of him in different outfits. So he sees someone who looks like his sworn enemy at the dance, you know, from the anime that he's from. And so yeah, they all get scared and then he tries to fight him. But like always, they make it out alive and then the anime dude starts loving the sea forever. Like, okay.
Hazel, would you join me in the sea?
Hey, Wes. You're a great person, but I think we work best as friends.
Ooh, that's gotta hurt.
That's the episode. So episode 12 is called A Stanky Danky. So we find out Hazel is a secret environmentalist, basically. And she hates when people aren't environmentalists. So in her sleep, she wishes that people wouldn't be such trash monsters.
I just wish people wouldn't be such trash monsters.
But Cosmo and Wanda were like barely awake and they didn't really hear the wish clearly, so then they thought that she wished for a trash monster, and so that's what they gave her.
One trash monster coming up.
And they didn't even question it. Like, come on, Wanda. You were supposed to be the voice of reason. We also kind of see a little bit of Wanda in like a nightgown, and she legit has some cleavage. Like, damn, girl. Like, Wanda freaking got curves on her 1,000-year-old vacation. And Cosmo definitely got a dad bod. I'm kind of living for it. Oh, and you guys also remember that episode from the original show? That guy who was like Doug Dimmadome's son, who was like locked down in the shelter to make Vicky's lemonade? Yeah, so he's Dev Dimmadome's dad, but he's a villain in the show, so fun.
When I was your age, I spent my Saturdays working in a factory underneath a lemonade stand for 7 years.
I kind of love that they included him, because I legit thought of him the first time I heard about Dev Dimmadome. I was like, wait, does he have a son? So I like that they actually made him the son, or the dad. There's also 3 characters that have like the same exact personality in this show. Like, we see the cookie fairy, the fairy named Cookie from the first episode.
Yep, the best fairy godparent, me.
And then we see Diana, who's her hair.
That's right, shake that hair booty.
And then we see this news anchor named Tina.
I'm Tina Cherna, reporting live from Dimmadelphia Founders Park.
Like, they have to be the same voice actors, and they all have the same personality. It's really weird. So Hazel uses the trash monster she accidentally wishes for to promote throwing away your trash. But then Doug Dimmadome, like the Doug Dimmadomes, are like, they gaslight the trash monster into being on their side, who don't give a crap about recycling, and he even opens Dimazon.
Dimazon, in partnership with Dimmadome Global, is thrilled to introduce our new brand ambassador, Danky.
Like, okay. Side note, but the way the Cosmo is like holding onto Hazel in this shot, freaking precious. So the episode ends with them literally sending the trash monster up to collect trash in space. Next episode. So this is called Piece of Pizza, but peace is spelled like peace sign. So the teacher has a position where if everyone is on their best behavior, they get to have a free pizza party. And like, everyone has to participate to get it. And everyone does, except for Dev.
Pass. Pizza's overrated.
Freaking little creep. So Hazel also sits on her teacher's head and she kicks him in the eye, which I very much appreciated. I wish I could have done that to my math teachers. I don't know what even happens in this episode, dude. Like, I really don't know. Like, I'm trying my best to explain it, but I really can't. Like, you guys have to watch this episode for yourself because I genuinely don't know how to explain it. Like, a bunch of, like, peacekeepers from, like, a pod in space crash lands in the janitor's closet, like, trying to get Dev to be nice. I don't know. Like, the whole episode is basically them trying to get Dev to, like, bring peace so they can get the pizza party. Another moment to add to Cosmo and Wanda being absolute sweethearts in this show.
No, Wanda! My beautiful wife, she had so much life ahead of her.
Cosmo, I'm right here. Don't cry over spilled milk.
This episode also very, very much made me hungry for pizza. So, like, I watched this episode very hangry. Even the freaking news reporter chimes in for this, like, pizza debate. Like, what? Cosmo also disguises himself as Dev, like his dad, like Dev's dad, and then he hugs his legs, which is kind of weirdly wholesome for some reason. I don't know why Wanda had to like disguise herself as his boot, but like, okay then. So long story short, we find out the reason Dev was so against the pizza party was because he is lactose intolerant and doesn't want to see them eat pizza when he isn't allowed to, so very valid to be honest. And Hazel simply suggested he gets lactose-free pizza, like it was that simple.
Dad, we could have ordered you some lactose-free pizza.
I thought that was just a myth.
So that's it. They have the pizza party and that's it. Very happy. So the next episode is called A New Development. So in class there is like a scavenger hunt the teacher wants them to solve, and of course Hazel gets teamed up with Dev, so they have to work together. And we finally get to see why the villain is a villain, and yes, it's because he comes from such a rich family and no one has time for him. So kind of like Remy Bucks Aplenty. So this episode just consists of Hazel and Dev bonding for the remainder of the episode, to the point of almost becoming friends, which is actually kind of nice. So there's one episode for some reason, like, okay, so again, I know I kind of skimmed over that episode, but there is like I mentioned before, there is a lot of episodes I wasn't able to get for some reason. I'm so sorry about that. But the one episode that I really wanted to get, and I'm glad that I could get, was the finale, I believe. I think it's the finale of, the season finale. It's called Cookie's Court. And yeah, so this is the last episode, I think, of season 1, so at least it's some kind of conclusion, I guess. So let's go. So, yeah. So yeah, I think this is the season finale. At least it feels like one. Because it begins similar to like the second episode where Hazel officially gets like Cosmo and Wanda. Like it kind of goes back to the second episode a little bit, and I won't lie, it is pretty wholesome. Like Cosmo and Wanda both say how happy they are to grant Hazel's wish, and they hug, which is pretty darn cute. I won't lie. So yeah, remember Cookie? Yeah, the fairy from the second episode who wanted Hazel to herself. Well, yeah, she's back, and she was trying to tell Jorgen that Cosmo and Wanda are unfit godparents, even though they literally been godparents for like 10,000 years, and Cookie never even had a god kid before. So so Cookie tries to get proof that they are unfit godparents by going to her school. Kind of creepy. What she's mainly trying to do is trying to like fool them into revealing themselves. So I don't know if you guys have seen this scene before, because it is like the most popular scene in the show, and it is like went viral. Like it went viral for some reason. So Cookie tricks Cosmo and Wanda and Hazel into going to the museum one day, where there's like this metal detector that only works for humans apparently. So Cosmo and Wanda went through it, and it confirms the theory that Cosmo and Wanda are actually angels. Why am I gonna start crying? Guys, I had this theory for so long. I know it was a popular theory, so I know I'm not the only one that came up with it. But I had it for so long, guys. Like, you couldn't convince me otherwise that they were not meant to be angels. First of all, they live forever. They live in the clouds. That looks like heaven. Like, they freaking fly. They have God in their titles, bro. And then they literally grant miracles. You can't convince me otherwise. And they also have the anti-versions of themselves. The anti-fairies. That's, like, what? They are literally the fallen angels, dudes. Like, you can't convince me. And also, too, Butch Hartman, you know, the creator of the original show, shout out. He's also the producer of this show, I believe. And he's also a very devout Christian, so I would not hold it against him for maybe wanting to put that in there. And also the fact that they are, like, biblically accurate versions of angels in the show just show how much, like, effort they put into this one small part. Like, mind blown. So I don't know what happens, but somehow they make the clear, like, okay. So that weird ASMR kid is like hosting an event on magical creatures, like what are the odds? And then Cosmo straight out tells everyone that he's magic. Like, bro, have 10,000 years taught you nothing?
Have you ever seen a magical creature before?
Seen one? I am one!
So also another moment of Cosmo and Wanda being couple goals at this point.
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant we are one. You and Wanda. She's right over there.
So Cosmo kind of like backtracks, and then everyone believes him because, you know, he's a dumbass, and they're like, haha, fairies, haha, they're kind of like whatever, which makes sense. And then Jorgen says that they have to go to fairy court. Like what? Like what? Like since when do they have to go to court? Like I thought they just get taken away. Like I'm so confused. Maybe that's only if like Hazel was the one to tell people about them. But they get charged because Cosmo is still like a dumbass. Honestly, it makes sense. There was actually kind of a neat scene where they show them like going to court, and they treat it like a CSI episode. Like there's some like narration, and they label like at the bottom and everything. And the narration also says that their age is like as high as numbers can go. Jeez. See, I kind of like those kind of callbacks to the show, where it's kind of like, kind of breaking the fourth wall a tad bit. Cosmo also calling Wanda sweetie though, like, yes. I live for pet names. Like, I don't care what the ship is, the moment someone calls each other a pet name, I'm sold. So there's a part where Wanda turns into human for a second, or for the whole scene pretty much, but Cosmo is still a fairy, and it kind of made me uncomfortable for some reason because he looks like so small. I don't know why. So Cookie is defending herself in this trial, and Hazel is defending Cosmo Wanda. Yes, she is allowed to do that. She is a defense attorney. So Cookie simply asks if Cosmo and Wanda reveal themselves, and the person on the stand who was in the museum said that yes, they did say that they were fairies. And honestly, Hazel kind of badass in this part because she's pretty smart for a 10-year-old, because she tried to convince them that, you know, she asked the guy on the stand saying like, hey, did you believe that they were fairies? And then he said no, because fairies aren't real. And so then she said that what harm no foul, because he believes that fairies just aren't real, so no one believed them. It was a joke. Why would they get in trouble for something that didn't cause mass chaos? Which honestly, kind of smart. There was like a random like 2-second lunch break scene that happened. I don't know why, but it was there. So this last part kind of made me shook, I'm not gonna lie. So Cookie proved once again that she is right, and there's like nothing more Hazel could have said. So Hazel was gonna be reassigned to Cookie, and at first I thought Cosmo Wanda would, I don't know, get a ticket, have to pay a fine, have to go back to their retirement, but no. They have to serve 10,000 years in jail. Like, holy freaking crap. Why is the number always 10,000 too? Like, what? So Cookie has like a little scarf fox thing. I really don't know what it is. That always tags along with her. So like last minute Hazel calls him to the stand, and then he reveals all of her like glorious secrets. So the tape shows her like, you know, setting up the metal detector and showing off how Cosmo actually did and like all that stuff, right? So that's the last episode I could have gotten. Yikes. So I'm sorry, this video might be kind of long, might be a little annoying, but that's how the episode ended. It ended with also Cookie going to 10,000 years in jail. Like, holy crap, that is a little intense for someone. Oh my god. So yeah, if you guys couldn't tell, as a 21-year-old, do I think the show is watchable for a 21-year-old? No. Is it okay for a kid? Probably. I don't think it's as good as the original though, because the original still holds up to this day, to be honest. Like, there's still scenes that do generally make me laugh, so. But again, my favorite part of the show is definitely the dynamic they kept with Cosmo and Wanda, because I would not expect that, because they literally became like assholes to each other in the final. And again, I always thought people thought like, oh, like, you know, funny means like, you know, like, oh, being mean and assholes to each other means that it's funny, but it's not. Like, they do that with Peter and Lois from Family Guy. Like, they think that making them assholes to each other makes it funny, but it really does not. It really doesn't. So that's my personal opinion. That's my favorite part of the show. I like the dynamic. I like how they actually made Cosmo relatively normally average. The same with Wanda. They made them all chill. Do I like Hazel? No, she reminds me of Chloe Carmichael. I'm sorry. But, yeah, so, for a kid show, not too bad. Do I regret watching the show? Honestly, no. I mean, it's only like 11 minutes every episode, so I'm kind of curious what you guys think about the show, because again, I don't really have like strong opinions about it. I'm not like, oh my god, the show sucks like I do with the freaking 9 Realms. I go off on that show. But I'm curious what you guys think. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about the show, and ask me if you want to do any more videos in particular. So if you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.